So explain to him, how do we do it now? Yeah.
Don't bug me.
And
I don't
occasionally,
got time for that.
exactly. Occasionally there will be something, but we can usually work it out. It doesn't last very long, any more than like maybe a half a day at the most.
Yeah. Tiffany, will you really love me in a million years?
I will love you in a million years.
I don't know how.
I promise.
As the cold winds of winter sweep in, there's nothing like the warmth of a comforting cup to help you slow down and unwind. This is the season. Let Postum be your cozy companion. Made from roasted grains, Postum is caffeine-free and rich with a smooth roasted flavor. It's the perfect drink for those quiet, chilly mornings. Whether you're curled up with a good book, sharing a laugh with loved ones, or simply watching the snow fall outside, a cup of Postum is the moment you have been waiting for.
If you like meaningful LDS products that don't feel mass-produced, you should check out Latter Day 3D Studio. We design and 3D print magnets of many varieties, including temples and the Christus, as well as clean modern ties you can wear to church or inside the temple. Use code LDS for 15% off, available now for listeners. Everything is thoughtfully designed, printed in-house, and created to quietly reflect faith without being flashy. Head to LatterdayThreeDstudio.com and don't forget to use code LDS again at checkout to save an extra 15%. Latter Day 3D Studio, meaningful faith, thoughtfully made.
Welcome to This Week in Latter Days. This is your host, Tiffany Hales Tanner, and I am here with my husband, Darren Tanner, and we are here for the Spouses Edition. This is the first time that you have podcasted with me under our new name of This Week in Latter Days.
I know. I thought you got rid of me for a while.
I did not get rid of you. You have been giving me a bad time for years that the old mantra needed to go away. So how are you feeling about the new name of This Week in Latter Days?
It's a lot better. Almost there. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I really was attached to our old name. Our old name
I wasn't not though.
Our old name, we could come up with good acronyms.
Yes.
You know, we had the twin
Right.
siblings, we had the twin spouses, the twin sisters. I am just still really struggling with the twild and how to make that work. You know what I think I need to do? You know who is really good at acronyms and coming up with catchy phrases?
Who?
David Larson in our ward.
Oh,
I
he is
need
good
to
at
put
that.
David on this. And so, David, if you are listening, I need a good name for the Sisters Edition, and I need a good name for the Spouses Edition. The siblings, they're on their own.
He'll have 3 to choose from by Sunday. I know he will.
That's very true. And then, of course, we can still have the Taffy Edition, Tiffany and Friends for You, if I'm ever allowed to invite any of my friends back onto the podcast. My poor friends, I think they're feeling a little neglected since you replaced them.
Oh, for a while I thought I was out.
No, you're never out. You just think every time I record with Ariane, you're like, what? You don't want me to record?
Yeah, I got
I'm
fans, Tiffany.
Yeah, well, Ariane and I probably have more fans. All right, so we are here for January. Let's talk about our lives in the month of January.
Ooh, it's still busy.
It has been crazy.
I thought it'd slow down.
Well, usually January is like the month that never ends, but it hasn't been that way. We started off the new year, and I always do a big house reset after Christmas, as you know. The New Year's Day, we clear out all the Christmas stuff, put up the Valentines, and then I just kind of go on a big old cleaning spree, and the DI is the recipient.
Love it.
Of my stuff. Do you remember? In fact, I had so New Year's Day. New Year's Day was a Thursday. So Friday, I had Friday off of work. I went to the DI. And do you remember I sent you a picture of what the DI was like on that Friday?
Oh, yeah.
I had never seen it like this before. I don't think I talked about this with Ariane. I pull up to the drop-off place, and there's literally like 10 cars ahead of me. I've never seen that many cars for the drop-off place at the DI. So I snapped a picture, and I sent it to you, and I said, well, apparently everybody had the same idea I did today.
A good start to the new year.
A good start to the new year. So I kept thinking to myself, in fact, we probably missed the prime window. I bet about 10 days ago was the prime window to go to the DI and they'd have all the new good stuff out that everybody was getting rid of.
I know.
But we were too busy because my office moved. We moved from the first floor of my building to the second floor of my building. So that resulted, so we had a whole reset of our house. Then I had a reset of my office. And then your workspace has moved over
We
the
are
course. It's still moving.
a big warehouse.
A
full of
big warehouse.
fasteners.
Exactly. So that's all we've done in January is basically like reset our lives, which is why January hasn't seemed like the eternal month that normally it is.
Nice. I'm missing the snow.
Oh, yes.
Like it plays tricks.
Yeah. And that begs
I'm really missing it though.
the question. Are we going to get any snow this year?
I don't know. We have a snow camp out in February,
Oh,
and that could be a problem
that
because we like to dig one weekend and go up there the next weekend and sleep in our snow shelters. And
I guess I
caves
didn't
and-
realize this. When are you having the snow camp in February?
I think
How did
it's-
that not get on my calendar?
Oh, it's always been there.
You
For a
just never
couple
told me
weeks.
that.
I think it was.
Well, that's okay because I got a couple dance competitions in February, so
Mm.
you can go do your
Perfect.
snow camping, and I will go watch Ariane's daughter, my niece, compete in dance competitions.
Nice.
So, but you may not be
Okay.
doing your snow camping because the place that you currently go, I don't think they have any snow yet,
Yeah,
do
I
they?
think we'll be taking tents.
Tent
There's a
camping.
little bit up there, but not enough to dig in and to build with.
Okay, I did see on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
a thing going around our local area calling for all people on the first Sunday in February to do a massive prayer and fast for snow.
I'm in
So,
for that.
I'm in for that too.
Yeah.
We definitely need it. Utah is suffering the same fate we are right now.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of Snowmageddon that we had in 2016.
Yeah, we're not used to it.
We're not. No.
And I don't like it.
No. It's not giving you any opportunity to go shovel the driveways of the widows in our ward.
Yes, it gives me great. You know what it's like.
You love it.
I can just go quietly and get out quietly.
Exactly. You usually go under cover of darkness.
Mhm. Love it.
Yeah. Okay. I teased the listeners when I recorded last week with Kurt and Art about you were going to discuss a youth activity that you did, not this last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, because you came home and told me about it. And I said, oh, this is so cool. You have to share this on the podcast. So I want you to tell our listeners about this youth activity.
Okay. So we had a youth activity. We're combined with the young women and all the young men. And a patriarch came and spoke. Our state
Our
patriarch.
state patriarch.
Uh-huh. So I call him President Buck.
Yes.
So I think that is the proper term. President Buck come and talk to us.
Well, I don't think he gets the president title for being the patriarch. I think he's Patriarch Buck. We call him President Buck because we knew him when he was in the Temple presidency.
You don't call him Patriarch Buck. We asked.
Oh, really?
Somebody asked. I think Bishop asked. Do we call
Really?
you Patriarch Buck? And he's like, Brother Buck.
Brother Buck.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But we know him from the temple as
Yes.
president, and that sticks. He's a huge fan of mine.
Yeah,
He's a great father figure.
Wonderful man.
Yeah, that was there in good times.
Yes.
So, but anyway, he came and spoke to us, and we were able to get him some pre-questions
Okay.
from both the young women and young men, and so he spoke on those questions, and then he opened it up for questions from anybody, and then he started talking. He got what really intrigued me about it was how he prepared the process.
So tell us about the process.
Okay.
What he said.
So as soon as anyone gets a recommend,
Okay.
it dings him. Okay,
Oh.
So he knows.
So they don't
like
even have.
so and so.
They don't even have to call and make an appointment.
He's waiting for them to call.
Oh.
So he sees who it is.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then his job is just to patiently wait.
Okay.
And he said sometimes they never come.
Really?
Yeah, but most
Okay.
do. Okay.
Okay.
And so so when they call and schedule an appointment,
Okay.
the Wednesday before before he starts,
Because he does these on Sundays, correct? Okay.
on Sundays. And so the Wednesday before, he starts pondering and praying about the
Okay.
name. Okay. And he's in the temple as a sealer on, I believe it's Wednesday nights,
I thought you said
Thursdays and
Thursdays.
Saturdays.
Yeah,
two,
Thursdays.
two
Yeah.
times. Yeah. And he also uses that time for pondering
Oh,
at
okay.
certain times he mentioned. And so pondering and praying and throughout the week, right?
Okay.
When Saturday, he starts his fast.
Okay.
Okay. And then Sunday, the blessing.
Okay.
Okay. And he talks about the blessing.
Now, does he probably would have to do multiple blessings, like maybe 2 and 3 every Sunday?
Or whoever. Yeah.
Yeah,
He could. Yeah.
because there's only 52 Sundays in the year, and we got a lot of youth in our
Yeah.
stake.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
And so when he gives the blessing, okay, and then Monday morning he starts a process
Mhm.
of what do you call it? Dictating or
So he gives the blessing and it's
It's
recorded.
recorded.
So
And then he starts going through it.
okay.
Okay. And what I really liked him talking about was he said during the blessings, sometimes certain things are mentioned multiple times, and he has to pull those out and put it in a way that the Lord inspires him, right?
Okay.
And
This is in the after when he's looking at the
Mhm.
actual words that he said. He's going back and he's basically editing.
editing. Thank
Editing.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he does this, and it's a couple day process.
Okay.
Okay. And then it's sent out on, I believe he said, the Wednesday
Oh,
when he
wow.
starts the whole thing again.
Okay.
But what I really loved, and he talked about, especially to the youth, and you could feel the power of who he is
Hmm.
by him talking about just the love of how much Heavenly Father has to offer any of the ones that he's given blessings to, and the importance of him sharing that Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ know you so well.
Wow.
And that's the main thing that keeps,
Yeah.
that he really does notice. And again, like I said, and I found this a few times given priesthood blessings is sometimes I repeat,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm like, gosh dang it,
Yeah.
But and hearing it from him that's what the Lord or Heavenly Father is really getting
The
the
message.
point across.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I loved it. It was super cool. And then he just kind of hung out with us, and it had
Well, and share the story he said about like his relationship with his wife and where that has to be
there's
in
no
order
TV,
in order for him to give blessings.
no TV in the
No.
house, and zero zero negative anything.
Yeah.
So everything's on the upscale. Because he said one time, I can't remember what had happened. It was just a question. She said he drilled the hole in the wrong place or something.
Yeah,
right?
he was helping her with a craft
Yeah,
project, and he
missed
drilled the
one.
hole in the wrong
Almost.
place.
He almost got it right,
Yeah,
right?
and she was
And
a little critical of it.
but not too bad.
Yeah.
But he took it offensive, and he used that as that was even enough to just throw it off just a little bit. And you're like, oh my gosh,
I know.
what a wonderful life they live.
Well, and when you came home and told me that story, the first thing that struck me is I thought the wives of those apostles and the relationship. I mean, we kind of see it, as you see them interacting with each other,
Right.
but the relationship that they must have to have, both the apostle and the wife, and how they have to work at that relationship. Because I mean, we know from our own marriage, I mean, I know I do things that annoy you and you do things that annoy me, and whether you let that annoyance like build to where it creates a wedge or a wall, or whether you just go, okay, I'm going to choose not to let that bother me.
Yeah. I kind of like how we do it now.
Yeah. So explain to him, how do we do it now? Yeah.
You don't bug me.
And occasionally,
I don't got time for that.
Exactly. Occasionally there will be something, but we can usually work it out. It doesn't last very long, any more than like maybe a half a day at the most.
Yeah. Tiffany, will you really love me in a million years?
I will love you in a million years.
I don't know how.
I promise.
I hope so.
Anyway,
so I love You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kids were really engaged. They love hearing about the youth nowadays. They are so just smart.
Oh, they're
Right?
so
And
different
they're
than we were.
They're not a problem. There's not a problem. You know
No,
what I mean?
at least in our ward.
Yes, we have a great youth in our ward.
Yeah.
And but just the spirit of what Brother Buck, President Buck brought
Yeah.
to us was excellent. And
Yeah.
Sister Buck, she is so wonderful.
Yeah, they
You know?
both are.
Yeah. And they're both very, you know what I mean?
Strong-willed
So
people.
we understand. Yes.
like you and
Oh
me?
yeah, very strong, both of them. So what a gift to our stake.
I know. And it was so fun to have you come home and tell me kind of the logistics, because I'm very much a logistic girl. I want to know and understand all of the details and how things work. So I loved this story when you came home and told me that
Yeah.
about it. I thought it was very cool.
And I really miss Brother Malin. Huh?
That was our
He did-
previous patriarch.
He did all of our children.
Yes, he did
kids.
all of our kids.
But he said that he didn't know how many Brother Malin had given, but it was well over 800.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm thinking way past, because
Yeah.
he's been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah.
So
Which then, okay, so here's what's also interesting. So then after, after you came home 2 or 3 days later, we both got our patriarchal blessings out, and we were reading each other our patriarchal blessings. And I noticed something in my patriarchal blessing that I had never noticed before. So my patriarchal blessing was given to me by my grandfather because he was a patriarch. And up at the corner, I was blessing 818. And you had said that, after about 800, Brother Malin was like, oh, peace out, I'm done. And I know after I got my blessing, because I got my blessing in 86, that my grandfather still gave patriarchal blessings for at least a good 10 more years before then he just would give them to family.
Wow.
So I can't even imagine how many my grandfather gave.
So did we find that out? Is that the number? It must be, right?
I think
Okay.
that's the number. I promptly called Ariane and I said, pull out your patriarchal blessing and see what number you are, because that will tell me between her, there was probably about a 10-year span
Yeah.
between hers and mine.
And what was hers?
She never did return and report.
Oh.
I know. Can you believe that? Ariane, come on.
Ariane.
All right. Well, now we've done some host chat. Should we do some stories?
We should.
Oh, we should, because that's why we're here. So, first and foremost, I honestly thought when we recorded tonight that we would be discussing a new apostle.
I kind of thought so myself.
But alas, we have no new apostle yet.
No.
So, the Lord has not spoken.
His
Or
time.
His time. You had pontificated, maybe he has, and we don't know. And I said,
It could have happened.
I don't think so. I don't think President Oaks is one to sit around after he gets his inspiration.
Well, if they ask somebody, they do have a choice to reject it, right?
Everybody has a choice.
I don't think anyone would,
I don't think anyone would.
but it would be a lot of responsibility.
Exactly.
Instantly.
Instantly. So maybe next week we will have a new apostle. Matt and Melissa record next week. So maybe Matt and Melissa will get the opportunity
Nice.
to make the announcement
Yeah.
as to who the new apostle is, or maybe President Oaks is just going to keep us all waiting.
Maybe he's asked, and whoever it is just said, "Can you just give me 1 week? I need to line some stuff out."
That could very well be.
I would need like 2 months.
You'd need a little
Maybe
more than that.
maybe 2 years. You're right about that.
You'd be like,
It would be a lot more.
got to get back to you on that. So yeah, I mean, it could be that they have extended the calling, but for whatever reason, not made it public yet.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be that President Oaks is asked, and the Lord's like, I'm not ready yet.
Mm.
So maybe the Lord is
Many to choose from.
Maybe the Lord is going to make us wait, but
There are so many wonderful.
but there's so much work to do.
There is.
I mean, if I'm President Oaks, I'm thinking to myself, Lord, I really need another set of hands. So anyway, all right. So our first story, this came out yesterday in a letter to local leaders about Easter Sunday. So if you recall, I think it was last year was the first year that the church said, or at least formalized it and said, okay, Easter Sunday, we're going to make this like Christmas, and we are only going to do a 1-hour meeting. We're just having sacrament meeting. So that is now in the handbook that if Easter falls on a Sunday that is not general conference, you will only have a 1-hour meeting. So this year, Easter falls on the first Sunday in April, which is, of course, is the last day of general conference. And so I kind of wondered, what is the church going to do in terms of local worship for Easter? I didn't know what the plan was, how we were gonna treat that, or if we weren't gonna have an Easter service and just consider whatever Easter messages come out from conference to be the Easter service. Well, the church has addressed that issue. So the Sunday before Easter is historically known as Palm Sunday. And we really have not grown up celebrating or discussing Palm Sunday very much. It's just been something that's come about in the last few years or so. There's been more discussion of it. So the statement that was released from the church yesterday is that local congregations will do a 1-hour meeting the Sunday before Easter on Palm Sunday, at which point in time they will celebrate Easter with music and discussion and talks of the Savior and his life and the resurrection.
I love it.
I love it too. And of course, you are encouraged to invite your friends to come to sacrament meeting with you.
What a perfect week to do it.
I think it is such a perfect week to do it. And I also think that because it's on Palm Sunday, that probably maybe the talks and sacrament meeting will focus a little bit more on Palm Sunday and what Palm Sunday means. And the article that was in the Deseret News about it quotes from Elder Rasband. He gave a talk in April Conference 2023, and he said that Palm Sunday was the most important week in human history, and that it marks the beginning of the last week of the mortal ministry of Jesus Christ. Anyway, so look forward to that and having a great Easter celebration on Palm Sunday. So we're not, we kind of get it double this year because I'm sure we will have lots of conference messages that focus on Easter and probably lots of songs from the Tabernacle Choir during conference that have an Easter message to them.
I'm excited.
Me too.
I love Easter.
I love Easter. It's one of my favorites. So, and let's face it, Easter candy is better than Christmas candy. I don't think there's any candy I love more than Easter candy. I love it all. And there's some really gross Easter candy that I like marshmallow eggs.
The Peeps.
I like the old school marshmallow eggs that have the marshmallow and then have like the candy shell around them.
Yeah, you do.
That we had as kids that our kids now just think are like completely repulsive. And I'm like, oh, but they're so delicious. They're like an instant sugar rush.
I am excited to celebrate Easter,
Yes.
though. Last year was the first. Have I mentioned this before?
I can't remember if you talked about this. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, just about how much you prepared for Easter.
For the resurrection
Yes.
and just the celebration. And I learned a lot that I kind of just pushed out of my head, but love it.
Because you were reading Jesus the Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was.
That's a thick text.
I think I'll do it again this year.
I think you should.
And I better hurry.
Okay. All right. So our next story, Elder Matt Holland, the son of the late Jeffrey R. Holland, spoke this last Tuesday at a devotional at BYU. And Melissa said this in one of the quick clips that she did this week. And, a lot of times I don't agree with Melissa, but I 100% agreed with her on this one.
Oh, nice.
She says, this talk really showed that the mantle has passed from the father to the son. And he is no longer Matt Holland, the son of President Holland. He is now capital E Elder Holland.
Nice.
And I completely agree with her. Anyway, he gave this great talk on the Book of Mormon. And his talk was entitled The Path and Power for Your Promised Land. And what he talks about is he goes back to when he was serving a mission in Scotland. And he was serving a mission, probably about the same time you were. I think he served his mission. He's like a year older than me. So I think he served his mission 84, 85. I don't think he got in on the 18-month gig. I think he might have been one of the ones that got the 2-year.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's serving
It was a select.
It was a select.
And you know why.
I do. I'm married to you. I know why. He talks about a talk that President Ezra Taft Benson gave when he was on his mission. And he says, "It is a sermon that changed me and the entire church." He said, President Benson explained, "We must make the Book of Mormon a center focus of our study because it was written for our day. The Nephites never had a book. It was meant for us." And then he goes on to talk about a few things in the Book of Mormon. And I had never made this connection before. And so I loved this part of his talk. You know, when you read the Book of Mormon, so often they are out wandering around in the wilderness. I mean, how many times are people wandering in the wilderness in the Book of Mormon? It's about all they do is wander in the wilderness in the Book of Mormon. So they were kind of in a literal wilderness. And Elder Holland said, you know, when you apply that to our day, because the Book of Mormon is written for us, that we are wandering through a metaphorical wilderness. And I went, oh, how correct is he?
Oh man.
Oh man. And he said, some may feel lost in an academic performance wilderness, friends or dating wilderness, a marriage fulfillment wilderness, a career choice wilderness, a faith Christ wilderness, a health challenge wilderness, or a moral transgression wilderness. And he goes on to talk about these wildernesses are a journey, not a destination. And I really liked that as well, because there have been numerous times in my life where I've just kind of felt stuck and nothing I can do to move forward. I'm just dealing with a challenge. And until I get through that challenge, I'm just stuck. And there's really nothing worse than just feeling stuck.
Very true.
Very true. And then he goes on to talk a little bit about his father and relate that to the Book of Mormon as well. He talks about missing his dad and that he had opened his phone and realized, I have to delete my dad from my favorites contacts in my
That
phone.
hurt when I read that. Huh?
It did. And he said, you know, I'm no longer going to get little nuggets of wisdom from him. I'm no longer going to have him saying, Matt, you could do better here, fix it.
Wow.
I'm no longer going to get counsel from him. And he said these raw emotions just poured out and he was so grief stricken. So he decided to, he had an impulse that night of, I need to go pick up the Book of Mormon. So he picks up the Book of Mormon. He'd left off in Alma 58. He opens Alma 58 and it's talking about being grief filled and pouring out their soul in prayer to God. And so he decides, well, I guess that's what I need to do. And so he gets on his knees and he pours out his soul. And he said, I found Christ and I continue to find him, and strength and peace and deliverance. And the Book of Mormon was the conduit, but the power was in Christ. And so he was encouraging not only the BYU students, but anybody who was listening to his talk, because these talks are meant primarily for the BYU students, but they are general consumption
are
for
so
us as
good.
well. And they're really good talks. Anyway, so if you haven't had a chance, listeners, to go listen to that talk, go pull it up, because it's pretty powerful and it's pretty amazing to see that mantle shift. I mean, that's that. I don't know which I like better, seeing the mantle shift, because then I don't feel nearly significantly the loss of President Holland. I'm like, oh, look, there's a mini me. Or the words in the talk. And the words in the talk obviously echo the things that he's learned from his father.
And he's right. The Book of Mormon, wasn't I telling you I was listening on the way out?
Yes.
I had a long drive out to Weiser.
So you decided to go straight to Third Nephi.
I did. I wanted to. I felt like I just wanted to listen to it, and I got to the part where Heavenly Father introduces his son.
Yes.
And then his son descends, and then just the way it's written in the Book of Mormon app is where I'm listening to it from. But man, I was so struck with just felt so loved and empowered by the power of the Book of Mormon. If we're reading the Book of Mormon every day, I mean, it does give us that extra strength. Yeah. And like Elder Holland said, you know, you know what I mean? Get immersed in it.
Exactly. No, we've talked a couple times this week about what you've been reading in Third Nephi, and you're like, Third Nephi's wild. You said,
I've been there.
we just need to pick it up and read it together to start in Third Nephi.
Yeah, it's really neat every time.
Okay. All right. Guess what? You get the next story.
Oh, hey, we're looking at a cool picture.
We were. A very
Yesterday.
cool picture on
And
the
it-
church news site.
It was a chapel filled,
Filled.
and everybody was in baptismal clothing. And this is in the where's it at?
Democratic Republic of
of
Congo.
Congo.
We're not going to try and pronounce the cities because that's just way above our pay grade.
It is.
Sorry.
But
We can barely speak English.
no, 87 new converts.
Yes.
And that
in
was
one weekend.
That was one weekend of December 27th of
2025.
And then the next one was
97
97.
new converts on another weekend.
And when you see the photo, it's pretty neat.
It's really neat.
I instantly felt the spirit
Yeah.
and showed you, right?
When you see the work that is going on in Africa and how the church is just exploding there, it's kind of mind-boggling.
It is. It is. And I like how they put it in the article. Member missionary work along with missionaries and friends are
Yep.
doing their job.
Doing their job.
Missionaries.
And then the stake president was counseling all of these people to remember their covenants and preserve the faith. What I hope happens in Africa, and I think the church has probably learned its lesson, hopefully, from the 80s and the 90s, when there was explosive growth in South America, but there really wasn't the support for the members
Right.
after they joined the church. And so you had people that fell away, or people that were baptized that maybe weren't truly converted, because it was all in the 80s. It was very much about the numbers,
Oh.
you know.
Yeah.
You didn't know that? Of course you did. You went on a mission in the 80s. So I am hoping that, and I believe that there probably is, that there is a lot of support for these new members, and the people who are getting baptized are truly converted, because it said they were teaching 100 people and they found
Wow.
85 of them, or 87 of them were interviewed and found ready to enter the waters of baptism. So again, I hope that they're getting that support so that they can, because you're so excited when you're a new convert, but there's so much to learn, and you really need that nurturing too.
You do.
So I hope they get the nurturing as well.
Huh. How fun for them.
I know.
Huh? A whole new life.
All right.
Okay.
The next one is yours too.
Oh, I really like this one.
Yes,
So
you do.
this has to do with the Salt Lake Temple, and the scaffold is starting to come down.
It is.
Now, we've been going there. Every time we visit, we go there.
Yes. Every time we go down to Salt Lake, we have to take a pilgrimage to Temple Square to see the progress on the temple.
Right.
And we were last down there in December. So tell them what you saw, what we saw when we were down there in December.
So I'm a mason by trade
Yes.
and stonemason.
Yes.
Right? And
So
so
this
I
is-
love
This is why
everything
this is
about
fascinating to you.
Yes. I could watch them all day,
I know.
even taking down the scaffold.
You just bring a bag of popcorn and just sit
I
there.
would.
And,
No, we would go look through the windows, walk around, see what
Yep.
every single thing.
yep.
Started out with a big, huge pit.
There was a hole. Like, how far down do you think that hole went?
It went to the bottom.
Like below the bottom, because they
It
were putting
did.
those rollers below the
Yeah.
temple. Yeah. Like, how many feet down do you think that hole went? You're a mason.
I don't know, 40?
You think at least, well, I would guess more than 40, but I don't know. I'm bad at that.
Maybe.
Anyway, so there's a big old hole all around the temple.
Yeah.
But that was but that was the previous time we went down, and every time we've been down. But when we went down in December, what happened to the hole?
It was filled in.
It was,
Mhm.
and they were starting to build like steps
You
and
could see the drainage was on top
landscaping.
now.
Yeah,
And the landscaping was going in. Super thrilled about that. But just watching the scaffold alone, how
Mhm.
cool is that?
It's very
That's
cool.
huge. And then it just makes you think of when they scaffolded in the old days.
Ugh.
Wow.
Yeah,
Huh? Wow.
exactly.
That's impressive.
Well, and we haven't been able to see the spires on the temple. And of course, they're starting at the top and going down to take the scaffolding down. And now the picture's coming out. You could start to see the spires on the temple again. And you're like, oh, it looks like the temple again. Before it just looked
Nice.
like a building surrounded in scaffolding.
Huh.
You had no recognition of it being the temple.
And this started in 2019.
2019.
So, what else about this?
They
It's opening.
say that they're going to have all the scaffolding down by March. And so then they will still be working on the exterior and the interior. They intend to have all of the construction done by the end of 2026.
Wow.
So, and then the word on the street, the rumor is that I understand the 6-month open house will start after General Conference in April 2027, run all through the summer, and end at General Conference in October.
Oh,
And then who knows when the dedication will be.
you get the inside line on that?
I don't know where I read that or heard that, but that's what I understand. And
Hmm.
it kind of makes sense because
Yeah.
then you can capture everybody who's traveling for the summer,
Oh, yeah.
kids out of school for the summer,
We'll be there.
because exactly, I think they're expecting something like 5 million visitors.
I believe it.
It's insane,
Yeah.
the number of people they're expecting. And then you will have good weather. You won't have to theoretically be dealing with snow and rain and
Well,
ice.
not snow this year,
Well,
right?
not this year. But, maybe in 2027, maybe we'll get some
Maybe it's
snow.
back to snow.
Maybe it's back to snow.
I hope so.
Anyway. All right. So, yes, that is very exciting that it's starting to look like the temple again. Okay. Our next story is about a unit history tool.
Mm.
So, this came out this week, and let me give a little background here to understand this particular article. So, of course, when the church was founded on April 6th, 1830, there was a very specific instruction. Behold, there shall be a record kept among you. That is Doctrine and Covenants, section 21, verse 1. So, since April 6th, 1830, the church has been keeping records, and they have been keeping a lot of records. Little did I know about the records that they were keeping. So, from 1830 to 1924, so we are talking 96 years, the church kept minutes of meetings and submitted them to church headquarters, while the church historian's office traveled globally to compile scrapbook-style local unit histories.
Wow.
So that is just mind-blowing. This article talks about the church historian, Elder Kyle S. McKay, and they interviewed him. And one of the things he was saying, we have all of these histories, all of these unit histories. And he said, it's kind of like being the prophet Mormon in a cave. He's surrounded by records. He has so much historical data. He would like to get it in a document or a book or something that's accessible for the purpose of persuading people to come unto Jesus Christ. But because of privacy laws, they don't release these records. So they have all of these records. So now we know what happened for the first 96 years. Between 1925 and 1983, the church standardized reporting, including historical reports, which were collected quarterly, then added to the local unit histories. In 1978, the practice of submitting meeting minutes was discontinued and a new approach was implemented. Now, when we were reading this article, I had totally forgotten about this. When I was a kid and you looked up on the stand, on one side of the stand, of course, you had the sacrament table where the priests were. On the other side, in fact, it's still that way in our chapel right now.
There's a desk.
There's like a little desk. And I remember as a kid, a gentleman in my ward, his name was Don Price. It must have been his eternal calling, would sit there and write during sacrament meeting. I never knew what he was writing. Now I know what he was writing. He was writing minutes from sacrament meeting that subsequently got sent to Salt Lake for years and years and years.
Nice.
So in theory, maybe you could go back and find out what happened in sacrament meeting, in 1975. Who spoke and what they spoke on.
That's pretty neat.
Anyway, so they discontinued keeping the minutes in 78. In 1984, wards and branches were no longer required to submit reports. And then in 2000, what happened is each local ward at the end of the year would do a history. And I remember, because I usually had to help you write the young men's history. At the end of the year, you'd be like, the bishop needs the young men's history. So we'd sit down at the computer and kind of rack our brains as to what activities the young men had done in the last year.
A lot of them.
and write up a history that we gave to our bishop that he would then give to the stake president that would get compiled in a stake history that then got sent to Salt Lake that no one ever saw again. It went into the cave in Salt Lake. So what the church decided to do in January 2024 is they replaced these annual histories that they required local units to do with a unit history tool. Now, you and I decided, now the cool thing about this unit history tool is you finish an activity and you're a leader, you can go upload your pictures and your stories to the unit history tool. It has to get approved and then it gets published. So you don't have to wait till the end of the year. You can do it when it's fresh. And the members in your ward can actually look at the unit history tool. So what did we do last night, Darren?
We checked it out.
We checked it out. What did you see for 2025 in the unit history tool for our ward?
I was pretty impressed. We were in it.
I was impressed. I was like, wow. Because, I mean, I'm the secretary in Relief Society. I was like, well, maybe I'm supposed to be doing this.
Yeah, I was like, hey, we need to get him in after activities.
I know, because we had a lot that were in there by our bishop.
Yeah.
Our relief,
he's very good.
He's very good. Our reliefs, he had done all the young men ones, which, you know, that's only fair. He's technically president of the young men.
Yes, and he likes it. I think he likes doing them.
I think he likes doing those. There was a lot that our Relief Society president had done and our primary president had done some.
Yeah.
And a couple by the young women.
Yep.
So
and they're pretty good at it too.
Very, very cool. So if you have not checked out your unit history tool, go check out your unit history tool. You can do it at, they give the address here, unithistory.churchofjesuschrist.org. Now you do have to have your member login to be able to do that.
I was pretty impressed.
I was impressed too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, our next article, we will hit on this one just quickly. It was a fun article this week about how aging church members can find purpose through service. Church members are called to Christ-like service no matter what their circumstances and age are, says the author and professor. There's a gentleman, his name is Norman Hill. He is a BYU associate professor and author of a Deseret News series, Better with Age. He recently appeared on the Church News' podcast to discuss how aging members of the church can continue to find purpose. And he gave a lot of ideas. One of the things he talked about was this study out of the University of Michigan that shows optimism is a skill that can be learned and correlated with longevity for life. So when people say, oh, I was born this way, I don't see the glass as half full, I see it as glass as half empty. He says, no. You can change that perspective. You are able to learn that. And he said, as we learn optimism, it enhances not only our physical cell biology, but our emotional well-being and our spiritual happiness.
Changes it.
I told Darren, I was like, oh, I might live to be 100.
Imagine that.
Because I really am an eternal optimist. I'm always, hey, the glass is half full. It's never half empty. It's always half full. Anyway, he just says that, especially when we're released from callings, he says, heartfelt ministering service, encouraging and lifting others doesn't require a formal church calling. We are all called to this kind of Christ-like service, regardless of our age or circumstances. So he says, it does not matter how old you are. You should not check out of Christ-like service. You can always find some sort of Christ-like service to engage in. And it doesn't have to be a calling. He's like, just look around and start talking to people and start listening to people. And that was another really fun thing he said, sometimes showing up and listening to people is more impactful than offering life advice.
Nice.
How often have we found that the case when we're talking to people? Sometimes you just I'm going to zip it and put my listening ears on. So, all right. Did you know they're having some fires in Chile?
Ooh, I did hear. That was, it was pretty sad.
It's very, very sad. So the South America Area Presidency released a statement expressing sorrow and solidarity over the fires in Chile. Apparently, they started this last Sunday in the southern American nation. And as of Monday, there were still 15 active wildfires. There have been 19 people that have died in the fires, and there have been 50,000 people that have evacuated. I was looking at some pictures online, and it was very reminiscent to me of the devastation that we saw in California about a year ago when those wildfires came through California. Just entire blocks of where you see that there was housing are just burnt to the
Wow.
ground. So, and the church did say in their statement that they are going to coordinate with government and other institutions to provide volunteers and material assistance and invite all others to join in prayer for the protection of the firefighters and others who are working with this emergency. So I am guessing, first of all, that the church is so well established in Chile that definitely they have bishop storehouses and welfare farms and all sorts of stuff there, so that they are, and probably a distribution network, so they are doing what the church does best, which is mobilizing in a disaster and getting relief supplies to the people that need them.
They will.
They will.
That's sad.
It is. It's very
Wow.
sad. Very sad. All right. We're going to talk BYU for a minute.
Oh, yeah,
got-
that's your department.
I got 2 BYU stories.
I'll just comment on these.
You just comment on these. So the first one is, as you know, President Oaks announced that we were going to do away with the Saturday evening session. There may have been an ulterior motive for this. I doubt it, but it's kind of fun to think about. So generally speaking, for the last 20 years, BYU football has not played a game conference weekend. They have either played a game Thursday or Friday, or they have had a bye week, so that they have not played on a Saturday. They never play on Sunday, but they've never played for the last 20 years on conference Saturday because, well, they want us to watch conference. Anyway, not the BYU football game. That has the potential to change in 2026. So the Big 12 rolled out its 2026 football schedule, and BYU is now part of the Big 12. And BYU is scheduled to have an away game in Fort Worth, Texas, to face TCU on Saturday, October 3rd. So now you might say, oh, they can play in the evening, and then we can have our general conference in the day, and we can have football at night. But we don't know if they're going to play in the evening, because this is a televised national game, and apparently BYU nor the church get any control over that. That is all up to the networks as to when they want to televise the game, and that dictates when the game will be played. But also, BYU did indicate that select Saturday games may be adjusted to select Fridays and other special days, with game announcements coming in the following week. So maybe BYU will be doing some arm twisting, saying, I don't know what network is carrying this, saying, oh, don't you really want this to be a Friday night game? Wouldn't this be a great Friday night game?
I think that's how they're working it.
Oh, I'm sure that's how they're working it, because they don't want people to have to make that brutal decision of general conference BYU game. You know, the people in our ward that are BYU fans.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a tough one. That's a really tough one.
I'd be watching conference.
I know you would. All right, let's do our other BYU story, which ties into the Big 12. This was a story that was in the Daily Universe. And the author is a BYU student, because the Daily Universe is a BYU daily newspaper publication. And he talks about, he had gone to the BYU game at the University of Colorado this last fall on September 27th. And he just talked about how unnerving it was, because the Colorado fans were, from the start of the game through the end of the game, were saying an expletive, the Mormons. And he said, throw shade at my team all you want. You call BYU any name you want. Totally expect that. He said, but it is really unnerving when you are talking about my religion. And so he left that game. It was the first time he'd ever been to an away game, and he didn't have the experience that he thought. So he says, over the last few months, I tried to get to the bottom of this issue. He says, I talked with students, fans, and administrators, and discovered these chants are affecting lives in ways far beyond the football game. He talked with the BYU athletic director of communication, who said, saying derogatory chants about BYU is one thing, but when you're saying it about an entire religious group, you're going beyond team and beyond the sport, which I completely agree with. But then there was a story that just broke my heart. He interviewed this woman by the name of
Mm.
Liz Horton, and she grew up outside of Boulder. She had been a University of Colorado fan her entire life. That was her dream school. She went to school there. She's also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So on Saturday, the 27th, she went to the game. She's wearing Colorado gold. She's in the student section. And an acquaintance started to introduce her as Lizzie the Mormon. And soon this spread amongst the student section, and people kept shouting, "She's a Mormon, she's a Mormon." And then all of a sudden she got hit in the head, back of the head with a beer can.
Wow.
And if that wasn't bad enough, another student tried to lift her skirt to see her underwear to see if she was wearing garments. And she was so traumatized by this experience that she left the game early. She went home and she submitted a request to transfer schools. This was her dream school. It turned into a very scary experience. Also, so as a result of that particular game, the University of Colorado was fined $50,000 by the Big 12 for failing to control the behavior of their fans. There was another game at the University of Cincinnati where fans engaged in similar behavior, and I discussed an individual who had survived the shooting in Michigan that had gone down to that game and was traumatized again by the religious taunts, and wrote a letter to the athletic director for the University of Cincinnati. And the last time I talked about this, I called out the Big 12 because the Big 12 never fined the University of Cincinnati. I just said, Big 12, you've got to do better because these schools are in charge of their fans and they are in charge of controlling the
Yeah.
environment in their stadium. And really, unless you start penalizing them, I mean, $50,000 is a drop
That's
in the
nothing.
bucket. You know, start at $250,000, go up to $500,000, go up to $1 million. You start levying these big fines and saying, oh, and we're going to give that money to BYU. Then you might get some attention. Or you say, guess what? If you can't control your behavior, fans, you're going to be asked to leave the game. Stop the game, kick all the other side's
Yeah.
fans out.
Or
Or-
the home team forfeits.
Or the home team forfeits. You know, until you get until the Big 12 grows enough to take some action and do something, this behavior is going to continue, and it is 100% unacceptable conduct. So that is my rant for the day. Big 12, do better.
I think they should.
I think they should too.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go.
I
go
think
ahead.
we'll be defending our faith like that more and more as
We
these
will.
latter days.
That
is very sad, though.
it's very sad.
I mean,
It's very sad.
humiliation.
I mean, we should be able to worship as we please
Yeah.
in this country.
Exactly.
So, all right, we are going to go to Mormons in the Media, and we have 2 different documentaries we're going to talk about tonight. The first one we're going to talk about is, I have mentioned this on an earlier podcast, but I hadn't watched it. There is a 3-part documentary called Harvest of Faith. It's on BYU TV. It is done by the Church News. It's produced by the Church News. And last Sunday, we had a little bit of time, and I said, hey, let's go in and let's go put on this documentary and let's watch this documentary. I've been wanting to see it for a while. Seemed like an appropriate Sunday activity.
And we did.
And we did. So the first part was all about the welfare farms. And they went to a peanut farm, they went to a peach farm, they went to a potato farm, and they talked about how these welfare farms are run with the volunteers, how it changes the lives of the volunteers. The second part, they went to where the food is processed, canneries and mills and things like that. And again, focused on the volunteers. The third part, which was even more fascinating to me, focused on ag reserves. Now, ag reserves is the for-profit farm operation that manages the land that's owned by Farmland Reserve, which is a nonprofit. So Farmland Reserve is an arm of the church, and they own the land. They contract with ag reserves to run these big farms. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess in my mind, I just always thought that all the farms just produced the welfare food.
Right.
Well, the church has thousands, probably millions and millions of acres of farmland, not just in America. In 30 different countries, they have farmlands. That is way more food than the church can distribute through its welfare system. And the church doesn't just distribute this food through its welfare system that is grown on the welfare farms. That's one thing the earlier episodes talked about was this food gets sent to food banks all throughout America and in other countries. And so it's food that's being produced not only for us, but to share through other
Everywhere.
agencies that provide food for those in need. So Ag Reserve, the food that they produce, the church actually sells that food. So that
Right.
food goes on to the commodities market. It is sold, and then the profits for that are, reinvested or used for other purposes. But I loved it. What was your take on the documentary when you watched it?
I don't know. My favorite was the potato.
Yeah, they had a potato farm
And
over
there
in
were
Eastern
three-
Idaho. Oh, tell
three-
this story. It's so
three
great.
old men,
Mhm.
okay, and they'd all lost their spouses,
Yes,
and they were using this time for service to help each other and mainly
Exactly.
help themselves.
Yep.
They didn't know it was helping themselves until they all three, and now they're three best friends. But just
Exactly.
to sit and listen to them and to and feel, you can really feel the atonement in
Oh,
their
yeah.
life of how this has blessed their life and how they're able to bless people's lives. I loved it.
I know.
It was cool.
I turned to you and I said, if I were to die before you, I know
Yeah,
this is exactly
that's
where I'd
exactly
find
where
you.
I'm going to. Huh?
I'd find you on the welfare farm looking for your other widowed buddies.
Hard labor
Hard
for
labor.
Darren.
Exactly. Hard labor is good for Darren.
It is.
All right. The next documentary. We watched this together last night. Elizabeth Smart. There is a new documentary on her kidnapping. It was released on Netflix on Wednesday, I believe. And not only does it interview Elizabeth, it interviews her sister, Mary Catherine. It interviews her dad, two of her uncles, and two of the police officers. And they do an amazing job of taking archival footage and reconstruction of events and melding those together and telling the story from the perspective of each one of these people. It was an hour and 30 minutes. I thought it was phenomenal. Give them your review.
I did. I loved it. Plus,
What-
I was at the time when that happened, I was
Uh-huh.
pretty involved with prayer in it.
Yeah.
I remembered a lot of the
Yeah.
prayers I was saying
Yeah.
for that family because I really,
Yeah.
and now when we have kids, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, wow, what a story, huh? What a miracle.
It is a miracle, and the story was just wild. And it went against, one of the things that the police officers focused on is there were so many things that were atypical. And so when these atypical things would come up, the police officers would dismiss them because they didn't fit the pattern, the mold, what the officers expected. And the officers said, in hindsight, there was so much we could have done different, done better, but not that they were doing their best with what they had at the time. But just fascinating to see how this just, typically children that are kidnapped, they are killed within the first, 48 hours. And so the fact that 9 months later, she's walking down the street alive is mind blowing. The fact that her sister remembered this guy who'd been in their house for just a few hours is mind blowing. And the police officers blew that off. They were like, there's no way she could remember that when he was only
Right.
there for 3 hours.
You know what I really loved?
What did you really love?
The father and his brothers,
Yes.
especially the one brother.
Yes.
He's a little hardened,
He's a little hardened.
but he was the one that knew,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and went and just kept going no
Yeah.
matter what you know what I mean,
Yeah.
police did. And that's what you'd have to do, I
That's
think.
exactly what
You know
you'd
I mean?
have to do.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. It's a really interesting juxtaposition because this case got so much media attention, national, international media attention. Everybody knew who she was. Everybody knew what she looked like. Lots of focus on the family. And they couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
Everybody knew them and what they looked like. So kind of, to a certain extent, a massive invasion of their privacy. But at the same time, Ed Smart says in this documentary, and it's very true, it was the public that solved this case. They had gone on America's Most Wanted with a sketch of this Emmanuel. A brother-in-law recognized him and said, I know who this guy is. They were then able to put a name to him. They were able to get more pictures of him. People saw that, and then people saw Elizabeth and her captors walking down the street. So it's that media attention is a double-edged sword. It was so invasive and so pervasive and so disruptive to their lives, but at the same time, so responsible for bringing Elizabeth home.
Huh.
Fascinating.
And Elizabeth, what a
Yes.
beautiful lady. Huh?
Beautiful lady.
Can you imagine?
I cannot
and how she's turned out. It was
even
like,
imagine.
yeah, what a wonderful,
Exactly. I mean, I
beautiful human being.
have no doubt that she has had years of therapy,
Yeah.
probably still has years of therapy, but the message that she likes to put out there is she has a foundation called the Elizabeth Smart Foundation. She goes around and she talks to a lot of victims of sexual abuse, and really, I think, provides for them a lot of hope, saying,
Yep.
you know, this happened to you, but you don't have to let this define you. You can choose how you want to be defined.
Exactly.
So anyway, go watch the documentary.
I liked it.
It's just that good.
Yeah.
All right. Guess what?
It's time.
It's time for Mormons behaving badly.
Oh, I didn't hear any of them.
That's exactly right. We didn't have any Mormons behaving badly this time.
Oh, good.
Last time when I recorded with Ariane, we had not one, not two. We had 3 at the beginning of the year. So
Well, it was right after Christmas.
it was
You
right
can't
after
blame
Christmas. So they gave us a little reprieve. We have no Mormons behaving badly
See?
tonight. But I did have one last week when I recorded with Kurt.
No.
So maybe the Mormons behaving badly know. Oh,
Hold on.
Darren's-
You recorded with Kurt?
you know I recorded with Kurt
No, I
and
didn't
Art
know.
last week.
Oh, maybe I did.
Yeah, well, we did it during the day. We didn't do it at night. That's probably why you don't know.
Oh,
Because it
yeah.
didn't disrupt your schedule.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay. All right. Well, should we move on to our favorite things?
Let's do.
Okay. Do you want to talk about our favorite thing? I should let you talk. I've been talking so much.
No, do it.
I'm going to hold up our favorite thing. Why don't you tell them what this is and how we found it?
Well, we found. No, go ahead.
So this is Weinman stainless steel wipes. We have a stainless steel fridge. We have a stainless steel dishwasher. We have a stainless steel microwave, and we have a stainless steel trash can
And a sink.
and a sink. Yes, we are all about the stainless steel. So we have struggled with our fridge more than anything else to get the dang thing clean.
Smeary.
Smeary all the time.
Fingers.
Fingers all the time. We even have a new fridge. We got a new fridge a couple of years ago, and we still have the same issue. So, Darren, tell them what was happening when we found these little puppies. What were we doing?
I think we're bargain shopping.
We were on date night.
Yeah.
So we have date night every Saturday night.
Every Saturday night.
Like that is a non-negotiable.
We're there.
We're there. And I had drug you into TJ Maxx.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember why we went in there. Well, we were looking at watches for Isaac.
Yeah.
And then, you just look around TJ Maxx because it's TJ Maxx. So we're over in the home goods part of TJ Maxx, looking at their home goods stuff, walking up and down the aisles. And I see these stainless steel wipes. They were $4.99. They were cheap. And I was like, they probably won't work, but for $5,
We're going to try it.
we're going to try it. And you were like, sure, why not? Because they had a bigger package of them. They had the spray
Yeah.
And
and
the
then,
spray.
And they had the wet wipe
and the
ones,
wet
too.
wipe ones.
Yeah.
And I said, no, let's just get the smaller, cheaper one. Let's see if it works. So I didn't try it that night. I think it was the next day that I tried it on our fridge. And that was like 3 weeks ago. My fridge still looks amazing. My fridge has never looked that good for
It's
that
pretty
long.
Good stuff.
It is pretty good stuff. So I was really impressed with them. So now Ariane's fridge gets a lot more wear and tear than our fridge because she has 4 kids still at home. And they're little, a couple of them are little kids.
Yikes.
Yikes. Exactly. So I said to Ariane, let me bring my stainless steel wipes over and see what I can do. So they didn't work as well on Ariane's fridge, but here's my theory. I told Ariane, I said, you got a lot of buildup on
You gotta
there
strip it
of
down.
whatever product y'all have been using. Because she's been trying 2 or 3 different
Right.
things. She said, my 14-year-old is responsible for cleaning the fridge. And you can see, she said, I don't know what she's using, but it's not very good. So I said to Ariane, because I got some stuff off and made it shiny. I said, I think you got to get some vinegar, and I think you just got to strip this thing down. And I said, once you strip this thing down, then try it with the wipes and see if you can get it in good shape. Because, like I said, it worked really well on ours, but we didn't have a lot of buildup on ours because ours, like I said, is relatively new. And the product I'd used on it was a stainless steel specific product. And then I put together a mixture that I found online of like vinegar and Dawn and water. And anyway, so this is Darren and I's favorite things, the Weinmann stainless steel wipes. All right. Guess what? We've come to the end of the podcast.
Oh boy,
I know. Can you believe you
that
lasted?
went fast.
I did.
Huh.
Are you always amazed at how fast
I
it
am.
goes? It really does.
Yeah,
So
I thought I was setting in for the long haul.
I know. And I mean, it was kind of a slow news week, but we were able to drag it out. So that's good. Hopefully, cross your fingers, next week we get a new apostle. We'll see. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. I don't know if we have the new email up and running yet. I need to find out if the new email is up and running so that you can like leave comments via email. But you can.
Who answers these comments?
The comments all go to Kurt.
Oh, Kurt.
And then Kurt forwards them to the hosts accordingly.
Of which?
I will say we don't get very many comments forwarded to us.
Oh,
Matt and Melissa seem to have quite the hefty mailbag. I'm just going to leave it at that.
don't get very many.
We don't get very many. Anyway, but if you want to reach out to us, you can reach out on Facebook. We are on Facebook and we are on Instagram. In fact, these days we are very active on Instagram because myself and Matt and Melissa are all doing these little shorts that are popping up every day. We have 1 or 2 little short videos that pop up. They are super fun to do. I've really been enjoying doing them.
One.
You know what? You and I are going to try one afterwards because we're going to do a little short on our favorite thing.
Oh, that's soon.
That's soon. Exactly. Anyway, so please find us on all the social media platforms. And again, we really appreciate your continued support. Thank you.